WhiskyJason here, whiskey from the viewpoint of an American in Germany tasting rare and exotic whiskeys. Today I have another limited release, this time from the Speyside Distillery. The brand is called Spey, but it's still the Speyside Distillery in Speyside. And this is the 12-year-old Tawny Port finish release. One of 3,000 bottles, 46%, about 60 euros, and Whiskybase number 164618. So, this is one of those bottles that is tissue paper, which means for me it's actually for the export markets, especially Asia. All right, now this bottle is one of those bottles that it's much taller than it should be. So I'm going to put it over here into my shelf, and it's never going to fit. There's actually about 1.5 inches too much here. I dislike that. Sorry. Is it a USP? Is it a unique selling proposition? I'm not sure. Does it make it special? Well, yes, but it's always on the top shelf and I can never get it off. Bimber is another example of the bottles that were way too high for my shelves, which I don't like. I'm half German now because I've lived in Germany for 30 plus years, and we have everything normed. It's DIN normed, and anything outside of that norm is bad. So, in my opinion, the bottle is bad. Now, in your opinion, it might actually be a piece of art. This is a very interesting, beautiful, nice bottle. But that's a whole different story. All right, very, very good. Let's talk about the history of the distillery for a moment, which is also interesting. The distillery was built inside of a barley mill from the 1760s, which is very, very nice. And there was a man named George Christie who bought this barley mill in 1962, and he hand-built together with a stonemason named Alex Fairlie over the next 2 decades, 20 years of building, until they were finally finished in 1987. Now, it took another 3 years before they started production. Why? I don't know. I assume they had to buy then the equipment for inside the distillery, which was from Foresights, which is very good products. And so they have two copper pot stills. They have a somewhat smaller production rate. 600,000 liters is what they can produce per year. And it's the most southerly distillery in the Speyside. Now, according to this book over here, the Malt Whiskey Yearbook, which I disagree with on one point, they say Dalwhinnie is in the Speyside, which is weird. Even in the bottle of Dalwhinnie, it says Highland, so I don't know. That's one of the things I would like to change, but there's not many other things in the book that I disagree with there. So they get the water from the river Tawny. Tawny is actually a side arm of the river Spey, and so that's that. Now, Harvey of Edinburgh's bought the distillery. Harvey's was established in 1770. They bought the distillery in 2021. They changed the name from Speyside to Spey. And today, most of the products are either a Spey whiskey, which would be maybe a Tenne, maybe a Tutina, maybe a Fuma, maybe it's the 10-year-old or the 18-year-old or the cask strength. And we also have the 12-year-old, which is a limited release of 3,000 bottles worldwide, which is not very much, to be honest. All right, so there are other brands they also have there, maybe a Bind Dope, DUBH. I have no idea if I pronounced that correctly or not. So, and they also had a bottling called Glentrommy, which I also found online, as well as Glenhood and Scottish Prince and Scott's Selection. So they've been doing some different things over the years, but basically since 2012, it's been here, Spey. All right, so what am I going to compare it to? I'm going to compare it to, a Tomatin 14-year-old port finish, 46%, 42 euros. So 20 euros less, basically half the price. This is also 46%. It's 2 years older. It's also just a finish in port. Now, the first thing that I notice is the following, the color. This is, for me, a port matured whiskey. This is like, there's no port in there. There's no red. This is very obvious. There's something missing here. So I have no idea how long the 12-year-old Spey was actually finished in Tawny Port. It might have been 2 seconds. Of course not. It might have been 2 months. It might have been 2 years. It might have been 2 weeks. I don't know. And the second thing I don't know is, were these Tawny port cask used many times before or not at all? Is it a first fill? I can hardly believe that this color is a first fill Tawny port, and I would say pipe in this case. All right, very, very good. Let's compare the whiskeys on the nose. Okay, this is your, I'm going to say the word standard. This is a standard 12-year-old whiskey. I get a little bit of vanilla, I get very light notes, maybe a citrus moment, and I get some barley, maybe even a little bit of barley sugar and the vanilla. Nothing special, nothing unique. I don't get on the nose then the Tawny port finish. Didn't get it. Over here, the Tomaten. Oh, I get the red berries. I get the fruit notes. I get a much darker moment, creamier. Even a little bit of milk chocolate could be imagined here. All right, this is brown and darker and creamier and richer. This is more of a lighter yellow type of moment. Okay, now to be honest, on the nose, I like the Tomaten better. It's cheaper and it smells better. I'm not a big fan of Tomaten 14-year-old Tawny port cask finish. For me, it's an okay whiskey. And if you ask me, hey Jason, what port cask finish whiskey could you recommend? I would immediately skip to an Irish whiskey and say, oh, there's this, that, and that, and this. And the Irish are doing a lot of great experimentations with port. In Scotland, not many port things have made me excited, and I haven't had the wow moment there recently. All right, good, good, good. So I could be getting, for example, according to one of the websites here online in Germany, I could get a hint of banana, maybe some warm pudding, a little bit of red blossoms, and also raspberry marmalade with a handful of orchard notes thrown in there for good cause. All right, let's try it. 46%, 1 in 3,000 bottles worldwide, and for me, the bottles are too tall. The 46%, the alcohol is very evident. There is a tiny little bit here of the red Tawny port finish moment. It's more of a grape. It's okay. I get a little bit of tannins, a little bit of old used woods towards the end. This is a whiskey which I would go, oh, is it 25 euros? Nah, okay, you can buy it. It's 62 euros. No, thank you, people. This whiskey is absolutely not something I could recommend, and it's definitely not something I'm going to go buy again. Spey is something I'm going to have to work a little bit around and with and towards and see what really, really tickles my fancy here. All right, Tomaten. 14, cheaper. Yes, more production capacity. Millions of liter compared to 0.6 or 0.5. It's more of a creaminess. There's more of a wonderful milk chocolatey woody moment. There's a tiny little bit of a sawdust dryness, but it's not the bitterness that we have here with the Spey. The Tomaten has a tiny little bit more of the lactose acid there on the nose, which I didn't mention, I'm sorry, as well as in palate. But the creaminess and the darkness and the wood of this whiskey actually showcases the goodness of this whiskey. And it's different. It's not something you can get every day, any place. This has a little bit of a mundane type of common type of pedestrian type of moment where it's like it's almost interchangeable with many other things out there. And therefore, I'm not going to rate it very highly. This is a C whiskey. If you put a little bit of water in it, the sharpness is reduced and the wood notes are gone. Without the water, it would be more of a C minus. That really does help. But it's a solid C. It's nothing special, nothing to write home about, no moment of, oh yeah, But it's just like, all right, yeah, good, next. And that's the problem here for the price. For 62 euros, this is just way overpriced. Now, the bottle costs a little bit, I know, and so on, but I don't like the height of it anyway, so I'm not going to go out and buy a new one. Tomaten, I would recommend more. It's more of a C to C+. With water, especially, gets better. And value for money is also more of a C area there for me, personally. So what is your favorite Spey bottling? What do you think about tall bottles, yes or no? And which other bottles are you angry about because they don't fit on your shelves? And last but not least, which Scottish whiskey with a port finish can you recommend? Is it going to be Tomaten 14 or is it going to be something else? Thank you very much for watching. Like, subscribe, tell others. Thank you very much for also sharing on the information that there's this crazy guy over here in Europe tasting whiskeys you might not ever see. All right, that's a great, great business proposition here. All right, almost every day, more than 4 times a week, usually you have a video at the moment that comes out. And thank you very much for being there and for commenting. All the best. See you soon. Bye-bye.